Hello, everyone. The end of apartheid in 1994 marked a turning point for South Africa, politically, economically, and socially, as it transitioned to a democracy. Expectations were high for inclusive growth, reduced inequality, and improved living standards. This latest video by Africa Rebound evaluates the progress, or lack thereof, over the past 30 years. We analyze key economic indicators such as GDP growth, unemployment, poverty levels, and inequality. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing for similar insights. Consistent with expectations, South Africa's economy experienced significant growth in the first decade of democracy. GDP nearly tripled from $136 billion in 1994 to a peak of $416 billion in 2011. This period of expansion was driven by liberalized trade policies, increased foreign direct investment, and robust global commodity prices. However, growth began to stagnate after 2011 due to declining commodity prices, policy uncertainty, and structural challenges. By 2023, GDP stood at approximately $399 billion, reflecting lackluster growth over the last decade. The average annual growth rate since 1994 has been around 2.2%, insufficient to significantly reduce unemployment or poverty given the country's population growth. Unemployment remains one of South Africa's most pressing issues. In 1994, the official unemployment rate was around 20%. Despite efforts to create jobs, this figure has worsened, reaching 33.9% in 2023. Youth unemployment is even more dire, at over 60%. The labor market is plagued by structural problems, including a mismatch of skills, rigid labor laws, and an economy that has struggled to diversify beyond mining and services. Post-apartheid South Africa has made strides in poverty alleviation through social grants, which now support 44% of the population. However, poverty remains widespread, with 55.5% of South Africans living below the national poverty line in 2021. Inequality, as measured by the Gini coefficient, is among the highest globally, largely due to entrenched disparities in education, land ownership, and income. Now let's examine some of the key sectoral issues. 1. Mining and industry. The mining sector, once the backbone of South Africa's economy, has declined as a share of GDP. While it still contributes significantly to exports, the sector faces challenges from rising operational costs, regulatory uncertainty, and declining global demand for certain minerals. 2. Services and financial sector. The services sector has become the largest contributor to GDP, with financial services playing a leading role. However, this shift has not been accompanied by widespread job creation, as the sector is capital-intensive and requires advanced skills. 3. Energy and infrastructure. Energy insecurity, particularly load shedding by Eskom, has been a major drag on economic growth. Chronic power outages have hindered industrial output and eroded investor confidence. 4. Social development and basic services. Significant progress has been made in expanding access to basic services. For instance, access to electricity rose from 58% in 1996 to 95% in 2024. Over 4 million low-cost houses have been built since 1994. Enrollment rates in education have improved, but the quality of public education remains poor for the majority. However, public healthcare and infrastructure face significant strain, with services often failing to meet demand. Has the end of apartheid benefited South Africans economically? While the dismantling of apartheid has brought political freedom and expanded opportunities, economic outcomes remain mixed. Key successes include a growing black middle class and increased social mobility for some, as well as improved access to basic services and social grants. However, persistent challenges, stagnant economic growth, high unemployment, and entrenched inequality highlight that the economic benefits of democracy have been unevenly distributed. Many South Africans, particularly in rural and township areas, continue to face economic marginalization. To address these challenges and unlock the country's economic potential, the following strategies are imperative. First, diversify the economy. Invest in sectors like smart crop production and processing, advanced manufacturing, and technology to reduce reliance on mining and stimulate job creation. Second, overhaul the education system to improve quality and align skills training with market demands. Third, accelerate equitable land redistribution while ensuring productive use of land through training and financial support for new farmers. Fourth, prioritize investment in reliable energy, transport, and digital infrastructure to boost economic competitiveness. Fifth, combat corruption. Strengthen governance and accountability mechanisms to restore investor confidence and ensure public resources are used effectively. Lastly, promote inclusive growth. Expand programs that empower small businesses, women, youth, and marginalized communities to participate fully in the economy. In conclusion, the end of apartheid opened new avenues for South Africa's economy, but the journey toward inclusive and sustainable growth remains incomplete. While some progress has been made, structural reforms are urgently needed to address unemployment, poverty, and inequality. With the right leadership and policies, South Africa has the potential to realize the promise of prosperity as one of the largest economies in Africa. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, please share to spread the insights. And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing for similar insights on Africa's economic development.